On this episode of the People Down South podcast, we continue our interview with Bradley Jordan of Peachtree Entertainment. He tells us how Peachtree Tavern evolved into a full-blown entertainment and promotion company and the impact that this had on the music industry as a whole. We hope you all enjoy. Let's go.
Welcome to the People Down South.
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 Podcast. Hello, my fellow Americans. Hey, everybody.
All right. Hang it, Bobby.
Hosted by Mark and Chris.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. I'm Chris, and my best friend Mark and I started this podcast with the intention of highlighting inspiring individuals, having great conversations, and hopefully learning something new in the process. We hope you enjoy the second and final part of this interview we did with Bradley Jordan of Peachtree Entertainment. If you've not yet listened to the first one, go back and check it out. So without further ado, here's the interview. What can you tell our listeners who might be considering opening a bar of their own one day?
Well, you have to be very responsible. I mean, like I said, the bar business, if you're passionate about it and you want everybody to have such a good time that you're drinking with them and it can just get out of hand, it's not a good business for a family life. It seems like it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of hard work. And I think most people don't realize how much hard work it is. So I would say don't do it. I don't recommend it.
Not recommended. Got it.
So you're in Athens right now, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my parents moved to Athens as well. And so I go up there all the time. I went to school there. I have a big place in my heart for Athens. But tell me about the reasons why you moved to Athens. I know it's an awesome town. Did you ever consider moving to Nashville?
Yeah, absolutely. The reason I moved to Athens is just to be close to my daughter. My daughter's mother is from Watkinsville. And she and I are really close, good friends. She's awesome. She's a great mom. She's just way out of my league. Anyways, Watkinsville is where she grew up, and that's the town next door. So I moved to Athens just to be close to Callie, my daughter. So I pick her up from school every day and able to see her anytime I want. So that's why I live here. I did commute for a little bit to Nashville. I tried to because it's impossible to manage an act unless you live in Nashville. There's just so much that happens there. And I used to drive there on Monday nights and stay through the week, and it's just too much for me because I'd be gone every weekend and I wouldn't be able to spend but a couple days with my daughter. So I just have to do everything through living in Athens.
That's cool. Athens has also been known as a huge music town, most notably REM, Widespread Panic, B-52s came from there. They have a music business school and lots of jam bands and such. But when I went to school there, they were severely lacking really much country music at all. It sounds like you might have had a hand in changing some of that recently in the last several years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very passionate about country music, of course. So I think a lot of talent buyers aren't into country music. I mean, that's not just Athens or Georgia, or it's the entire Southeast. Most of the talent buyers are not booking country music just because they don't know a lot about country music. And Athens is a very important city, not just because of the University of Georgia, but the surrounding areas. It's easy to grow talent in Athens. And so a lot of these legendary venues like 40 Watt and the Georgia Theater, which the people that work at these clubs are just phenomenal people. And I love them all. And they are gracious enough to let me come in and bring in some of these up and coming country acts that nobody's ever heard of. And it's been wildly successful. I think first off, John Langston, I mean, he'd come into Athens and just tear the clubs up. People love him here. And he was one of the first guys I was able to book in Athens. And it was just so successful. I just parlayed it into more and more country acts.
Well, that's awesome. So when we were on the video chat before we started the interview, I noticed in the background you had a football with a G on it. So I think it's safe to assume that you're a Georgia fan as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. Go Dogs. Lifelong fan.
Go Dogs. That's right.
Yeah, I've always been very passionate about sports, and I watch every Georgia game. And I try to take my daughter to at least 2 a year.
That's awesome. Yeah, Mark mentioned his parents are living up there now, so we've made an annual tradition of going up there at least once, maybe multiple times a year for a game. But I think it's really cool what you're saying about getting those country artists into those venues. I think that's something that only adds to the already rich environment that is Athens and the music.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just gracious that some of these talent buyers that don't know who these artists are will let me bring them in there. They just trust that I know what I'm doing, I guess.
So speaking of that, identifying the talent in the first place, I mean, what are some of the things that you look for
Yeah,
when
I
you
mean,
do
it's
to
just
help
pretty
bring
simple. I think I
along?
just look for somebody doing something unique and different. It's easy to be like another artist, but that other artist is already out there. So I try to find somebody doing something unlike anyone else. And I think about how fans are going to react to their sound and what they're doing.
Interesting. And so I have a question I've always been curious about. Why do we have so many great country artists coming from Georgia? Do we have something in the water over here, or do we have just good people like you and others who are guiding
You know,
these artists in
that's
the
a
right
good question.
direction?
Yeah, if you go to Nashville, it seems like every other person up there is from Georgia. I think people in Georgia are just really passionate about country music. I think that the fact that there's so many different, like the Luke Bryan, Cole Swindell, then you got Zach Brown and Kane Brown. All these people are so different. And I think that people get behind country music and to say, heck, if they can do it, I can do it. They're from right down the street. It's making them not afraid to jump in the water. I also am involved in a company in Alabama with a dear friend of mine called 65 South. And I was bringing all these shows to Alabama, and we realized that there's not a lot of people from Alabama living in Nashville. So we went out to try to find guys, and that's where we found Riley Green and Muscadine Bloodline. And people in Alabama are going crazy over these guys. So, yeah, I think when more and more artists are successful, more artists from that state try to jump in and do it. So now in Alabama, there's a whole slew of guys moving to Nashville.
That's awesome. It sounds like you're trying to take some people from a really authentic place and just send them in the right direction. So that brings up something that I'm really curious about, and that is the current state of country music. A lot of people talk about real country versus fake country these days. So what's your take on this? What do you think is going on with the artists, or are they being manufactured by the labels?
Well, I'm one of those guys saying there's room for everyone. I understand there's people who listen to traditional country music and they loved it and they want to still listen to that, and that's fine. I think country music's just so big. You have pop country all the way to guys doing more traditional sound, especially with these days with Spotify and Apple Music. You can just select your own playlist, listen to whatever. I think it's all country. People used to talk about Luke Bryan saying he's not country. He's the most country person I know. So I don't know.
So what do you say to the haters out there that say that country music has gone too pop? A lot of these guys glamorize 90s country as like the pinnacle of country music. Were you actually a fan of that era of music?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those 90s countries, I think some of that Travis Tritt stuff, if it came out today, would still be hits. Absolutely. And like I said, I think you can create your own playlist. That's what's great. You don't have to listen. If you want to listen to Tyler Childers and Sturgill Simpson and Jamie Johnson and music like that, there it is. It's right there for you. You can create a playlist. If you want to listen to the more pop side of stuff, create that playlist. Modern technology, you're not forced to listen to whatever a DJ's asking you to listen to.
So Bradley, if you were the king of the music industry, is there anything that you would change?
Wow. Yeah, I think that a lot of these record labels just have a lot of power. If they want to get a song moving up the charts, they can really do it. I'd like to see people go at it independently or more artists. Right now, it's like everybody has to try to get a record deal. And I think it's proven that you can tour and make money and do well. Muscadine Bloodline is one of those guys that they work their butt off every day. I love them. And they don't have a record deal, but they're still able to tour and make money and stay independent. So I'd like to see more artists try to do that.
Yeah, that is cool. I mean, we have all the tools now with the internet. We're so interconnected. The Spotify's, the Apple Music. Anybody who's searching for this stuff can certainly find it, but it definitely does seem like the big labels, they can kind of inundate the internet and get the viewers if they want to push something. But what about the business relationship with you and the artist? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, there's a fine line. I can talk to these artists about their hunting or their fishing or playing golf or whatever's going on in their personal lives, but you can't really talk to these guys as a promoter about what's going on with their touring or when you're going to play a show. I have to respect the chain of command. I talk to the agent, and the agent talks to the manager, and the manager talks to the artist. Otherwise, you can get a lot of trouble as a promoter if you're talking on the business side to the artist.
Tell us a little bit more about managing acts. I know you do the promotion side, but I know you mentioned you do some management as well, or have done it in the past. What's that look like in comparison to the promotion?
Well, I would never consider myself a manager. I mean, I have tried to manage a little bit, but I think, like I said, in order to be a manager, you have to live in Nashville. There's just too much that goes on. And luckily for me as a promoter, I can live anywhere. But I have worked more, I guess, as a consultant. Some of these guys, before they have managers, I just guide them and give them advice and tell them what I think they should do or what they could try. And then sometimes I introduced them to their future managers or future agents. And I just try to do my best to always think of what's best for the artist.
I find that pretty fascinating. I know you wouldn't be in this business unless you had a passion for helping artists. How much of that is the passion for helping the artist and wanting to guide them versus the business? It sounds like you might be very heavy-handed on helping the artists and maybe less on the business side of things.
Yeah, I think that goes back to, even Peachtree Tavern. Like I was never thinking about how much money I was going to make in a night. I was thinking about, is everybody having a good time? I think as long as you really care about the artist and the fans and what's going on, the money's going to come. So I don't ever put money first. Yes, I need money to be able to pay my mortgage and gas and make sure my daughter has food. But that just comes as long as you treat everybody the way you want to be treated.
So, Bradley, have you ever been on a national tour with an artist?
As far as Peachtree Entertainment putting on a concert, it's only been in the Southeast. So yeah, I've done a lot of Southeastern tours. I do those regularly, but I've been out on a national tour, like with Luke Combs or out with Cole or Luke or whoever on shows outside of the Southeast, but I haven't put on a national tour.
Gotcha. So you didn't do any time just like hanging around with these guys, like on tour, going state to state, just living the tour lifestyle.
Well, I haven't went on the full tour, but yeah, I'll go on every year, a couple legs of the tour. Like if one of the acts I'm working with is out in California or whatever, or, I got to go to the Gorge in Washington State for a festival out there. So I'll go on like 2 or 3 legs of the tour, but I won't go on the entire tour.
Bet that's nice being able to have the family life where everybody else is slinging it out on the road.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and it's cool. Like I said, my daughter and I are like best friends. So I mean, she hears all the music. Now she's 11 years old, so she can hear all the music and give me her perspective on it. So I enjoy the time that we get to spend together, especially listening to music and playing golf. So
Speaking of music that you're listening to right now, who would be your favorite country artists right now that are established? And then also, who are your favorite up and coming artists that are coming up?
well, I got to say right now, Luke Combs, of course, is just blowing me away. Like he is just so gifted. Like I used to joke around with him. It's like he has autocorrect. Like he can't miss a note. I've never worked with anybody that's just so talented of a singer, a songwriter. So he continues to blow me away. And it's crazy. Every song he puts out is different from the next one. He always keeps his fans hungry for what's next to come. Riley Green's another one of those guys that's just the most charming guy. He reminds me a lot of Luke Bryan. He's got so much charisma about him. He's one of those people that everybody just want to be around him. And, if he wasn't able to play country music anymore and just go hunting and fishing, he'd be fine with it. He's just that kind of guy. He's always going to be fun to be around. But as far as up and coming music, there's so many. The Mike Ryans, the Trey Landons, the Ashlyn Kraft. I'm absolutely crazy about Ashlyn Kraft. I think she's going to be a superstar. I've got a playlist on Spotify. It's called Peachtree Entertainment, The Future. And that's what I listen to every day. It's got all the up and coming acts that I'm working with. And I think it's a big deal if you're on that list. To me, it is, but I might be the only one listening to it, but I listen to it every day.
Hey, well, we'll make sure to share that link to make sure all our listeners can get on that list as well and listen to some of these new great artists coming up. Luke Combs, I'm super impressed with. I don't know of any other country artist recently that has had that sort of success that quickly. I mean, he came out with his first single, it might have been, was it Hurricane? And then within a matter, I think of like, a year or something, he's selling out, Verizon Wireless or Lakewood here. And then he had the double concerts back to back. Was it last year or the year before where those were sold out as well? And, this is like on his first album, I think. Like, I don't think I've seen that success before.
I don't think anybody has. I mean, he keeps breaking records like Garth Brooks and Shania Twain. He could easily sell out stadium. Matter of fact, we have a show coming up in Boone, North Carolina, where he sold out the stadium where he went to college. And I think the future is SEC stadium tours. I mean, there's no slowing him down. He's that good. But the most important thing is he cares about his fans so much. Like he just wants to make sure his fans are all having such a good time. And he puts them first, and that's why he's successful.
Speaking of SEC stadium tours, Bradley, we need you to put on another show at Sanford Stadium. Chris and I were there years ago for the Jason Aldean, Luke Bryan, Thomas Rhett, Jake Owen show, and there have not had one since.
Well, I can tell you it's 100% going to happen in the next couple of years. I can promise you that.
Oh, nice.
You heard it here first.
Back on the music section, what's your favorite non-country artist that you listen to?
Oh, wow. I love Led Zeppelin. I love Fleetwood Mac. I love Lionel Richie. Like I said, I love so many different genres of music, from Prince to George Jones. So a lot of the times out on the golf course, I'm listening to 80s soft rock, like the yacht rock sound. So it's all over the place.
I like that, Bradley. I like to think of music as like a way to share a mood more than anything else. Like there's always different situations that are perfect for different songs and genres and things like that. So I think that's really cool. But speaking of concerts, me and Mark, we pay for all the concerts that we go to, but I'm sure you've got connections you don't have to. When was the last time you went to a concert and had to pay for it?
Well, I try to avoid concerts just because, I spend so much time on the road going to concerts, putting on concerts, that the last thing I really want to do on my night off is go to a concert. But I did go see George Strait at the Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta. I saw Fleetwood Mac at Phillips Arena. So yeah, I do go to a couple big concerts a year.
That's awesome. What do you feel like is the biggest difference going to a show at the 40 watt to seeing like George Strait at the Benz or something?
It's really not that much of a difference, to be honest with you. I've always thought there was. I just recently found out it's just more people. It's the same concept. You still have to do sound, the light, the ticket takers, the security guards. Everything's there. There's a lot more of them. There's a lot more moving parts, but it's the same concept.
Same formula, just a larger scale.
Exactly.
Okay. That's pretty cool. Well, what artist's success would you say has surprised you the most, if you had to pick one?
I mean, maybe Chase Rice, just because, like I was saying earlier, just the fact that he wasn't born with that Luke Combs voice, but he's a good singer. I think it's just what separated himself from everybody else is just he worked so hard to get there. I think Brantley Gilbert's another one of those guys, worked their butts off to get where they are. I have so much respect for that.
That's interesting. What artists did you miss out working with, up and coming, that were around during that time that you kind of just let slip through your fingers?
Yeah, one of them is Thomas Rhett. I remember putting in offers for him for $500, and it was going to happen, and then it didn't happen. So I never got to work with Thomas Rhett. And I've met Thomas one time, but everybody just sings his praises. He's a great guy, but I definitely wish I would have worked with Thomas and never got to. I did book his dad to play a fraternity party at Georgia Tech. And Thomas came and was like 17 years old and played the whole second half of the party. But that's the closest I've ever got to working with Thomas. I never got to work with Eric Church, obviously huge Eric Church fan. I think he's the reason Luke Combs is what he is. And then Jason Aldean. I think those are the three that I wish I would have worked with and I never got to.
That's pretty cool. What's it like being friends with some of these massively successful artists? I know that can be kind of weird.
Well, it's not really, just because I was friends with these guys way before they had any fans at all. So they're just any other guys. And for the most part, they haven't changed. Yeah, they ride around in a tour bus now rather than a beat up van. But a lot of times, like I'll get with these guys playing golf or whatever, and you forget that they're massive stars. They're just normal folks, just like we are.
That's awesome. Do you have any stories about any of these guys that you'd like to share?
I think one of the cool times at Peachtree Tavern, Luke Bryan was playing. He came back. Luke Bryan was one of the most loyal guys. Maybe that's in the name Luke. If your name Luke, you're loyal. He came back to play a show at Peachtree Tavern, and I remember we were blown away that the radio station was broadcasting the show. 94.9 The Bull was broadcasting the radio show. And we were sitting in the car. Me and Cole Swindell were sitting in the back parking lot listening to Luke's show inside of Peachtree Tavern. And I'll never forget that. I think that was one of the coolest things. I was like, Cole, you're going to be there one day. And that's something I'll always remember.
That's really cool. You mentioned earlier the Spotify list with all the upcoming artists, but are there anyone on that list in particular that you'd like to highlight?
Well, like I said earlier, it was, Mike Ryan, Trey Landon, Ashland Kraft, Jordan Fletcher. There's too many to name. These are all guys I'm so excited about that are on that list that I think that could potential just have monster careers. Ashland's the one that just blows me away. I met her in Anderson, South Carolina at Wendell's Dipping Branch, and she was playing acoustic guitar for a Christmas party, and the entire party was at the complete other end of the building. So she was playing for no one. And I took a chair over and just sat there and watched her. And I was like, man, this girl is so good. And I asked her if she had any originals. And at the time, I think she was 18 years old and had written one song. And I was impressed by the one song and just kept in touch with Ashland. And anytime I put a show in that area, I'd let her come in and open first to 3 acoustic. And finally, I got her to move to Nashville. This is, several years later. And now she has a record deal with Big Loud. She's managed by Cappy. The music she's putting out blowing me away. I just think she's going to be a massive success.
So when it comes to Peachtree Entertainment as a business, what is the next big goal? Where are you guys trying to take this business?
I think it's just to keep growing these guys. I don't feel like my job's over. I want to keep taking these guys from the small venues to the next venue, and from that venue to the next level. There's so much joy in it for me. I don't see myself stopping that at any time. I feel like I'm always going to promote concerts or always going to help grow these acts.
Nice. Well, on the video earlier, you came in wearing a hat, I believe, that it said Blue Otter Polarization. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, Blue Otter Polarized. It's a sunglass company. So I mentioned I was in a fraternity at Georgia State. Cappy was my big brother. Well, my little brother, Hunter, sells safety glasses, and he's been doing it for years. And all these safety glasses come in from China, and they're very inexpensive. And he was about to put out a gas station quality pair of sunglasses called Blue Otter. And I was like, Hunter, let's not do that. I said, let's make the best pair of sunglasses ever made and use the guys in Nashville that we know to make them cool. And it took us 2.5 years to get the sunglasses to the quality we wanted them, which we feel is hands down the best sunglasses made. And Luke's a partner in the company, Luke Combs, and Riley Green and Cody Johnson are helping us push it. And man, it's been a lot of fun. These sunglasses are great. People are wearing them on the lake, in the ocean, and the lenses are made by Zeiss. So a lot of the hunters are familiar with Zeiss because they make the high-end rifle scopes and binoculars. And our lenses are nylon, so they're clear as glass, but they're lightweight and comfortable. So I know I sound like I'm a commercial, but they are. They're great sunglasses. I'm passionate about them, and they're really blowing up. People are every month buying more and more, and it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I really love supporting up and coming brands because you can feel that there's a little bit more passion put into it.
Yeah, there's no lack of passion. We're really proud of these things for sure. And, we're good people and we're big on customer service. Again, we try to treat people the way we want to be treated. And people now are buying their second and third pair for their wife or their kids. And it's great.
Do you have any big differentiator that you want to share? Or is it just, hey, we wanted to make the best quality sunglasses for outdoor stuff?
Yeah, that was basically the idea. I think a lot of people cut corners, and we tried to not cut any corners and make the best quality product and treat people right, and it's working.
Well, it sounds like the same model you're using at Peachtree Entertainment too.
Very similar.
Well, we're going to have to pick up a pair of those Blue Otter sunglasses. You mentioned another company. Do you have any more companies that you're doing business with right now that you wanted to highlight?
Well, it's just Peachtree Entertainment, Blue Otter Polarized, and 65 South in Alabama. The 65 South thing came about just because some dear friends of mine at Peach State Pride in Georgia, people recognize their hats, and there's a peach that says Georgia on their hat and their clothing, and they're just great people. And when we were first starting out with Peachtree Entertainment and highlighting guys like John Langston and Jordan Rager and Cole Taylor and Travis Denning, these guys would wear Peach State Pride and go play concerts in Georgia. And I just set something up similar with my friend Lane in Alabama. And it's great to see the state of Alabama just get behind a brand, with Lane being the face of it, being a native of Selma and living in Birmingham. These people are just loving. I go to concerts and it overwhelms me to see the amount of people wearing the 65 South brand at a Riley Green concert or a Let's Get On Bloodline concert.
We're going to have to pick up some gear. Need some new hats, new sunglasses. Definitely need to get geared up.
Please do. Please do. You'll be handsome.
So the next few questions are what we always close with. So first question, what would you tell your 21-year-old self?
Stay in church. Don't drink so much. I think that's it. Just put it in God's hands. Everything works out.
Completely agree there.
Yeah, that's great advice. And I know that you've been laying off the drinking for the last 7 years or so. And one of the questions we ask is what people have been drinking. But, when you're out on the golf course, what are you drinking to stay refreshed and hydrated? Do you have some Gatorade or some ice cold water? How do you handle it?
Yeah, I just drink bottled water. I see all my friends, everybody's drinking the White Claw.
Yeah.
I wish I would have started that business. It's crazy to see how many people are drinking these hard seltzers, but
It's crazy. Yeah.
I've never tasted one. So I hear it's similar to a bubbly or a LaCroix. So
Next question is, what do you enjoy most about living in the South?
I love the heat. No, I just love country music. I couldn't do what I do, I don't think, anywhere else. I think the rest of the United States, in regards to country music, are following what the South does first. These acts come up through the South, and then there's like a delay before they get to everywhere else. I think those people are all envious of the shows that are playing in Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi and Carolinas. I love that I'm right in the middle of it. Nashville's only 4 hours away from me, so everything happens in Nashville.
Bradley, where can our listeners connect with you online, and what do you have in the works that people should know about?
Well, they can connect with me online at peachtreeentertainment.com, bluewaterpolarized.com, and 65southal.com. And I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep looking out for people who have something to say and acts that are doing something different and unique from everyone else. And I'm going to pull them from the small venues like Eddie's Attic through the 40 Watts and the Georgia Theaters and the Zydeco's of the world, and just keep grinding. I'm not ready to change anything.
Well, we're excited to see the upcoming stuff on the horizon. Thank you so much, Bradley, for coming on the podcast and talking with us today. We really enjoyed our conversation. I'm sure our listeners will as well. And we'll definitely be sure to come by some of those shows, especially those in the Athens area.
Please do. And I thank you guys for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for listening to the show. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure you go and check out Peachtree Entertainment's website and social media pages for upcoming concerts. You can also listen to some of these upcoming artists that Bradley mentioned on the Peachtree Entertainment Spotify playlist. Also, pick up yourself some gear at 65 South and some Blue Otter polarized shades.
Make sure you click to subscribe to the show with your podcast provider, and please consider leaving us a 5-star review. We would really appreciate it. Also, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter so you can stay up to date with everything we do. All links can be found at peopledownsouth.com.
And if you happen to know anyone personally who you think we should interview for the podcast, we'd love an introduction. Email us at team@peopledownsouth.com. And as always, the views and opinions expressed by our guests on the podcast are theirs and do not necessarily reflect our own.
We are your hosts, Mark and Chris, and you have been listening to the People Down South podcast.
See y'all next time.
See y'all next time.
See y'all next time. See y'all next time.
See y'all next time.
See y'all next time.
See y'all next time.